beginning of the class because it's something new. Okay, I think you can hear that. Now, let's go back to PowerPoint, and we're back at File. We're down to Print. We talked about, print page, slide, probably not, handout. The correlated issue is 1, 2, 3, or all the ones and all the twos together. That's what that is. Now, here's under full page slides. You'll see notes pages. What is the notes page option? If you look at that,
It prints it out in doesn't have the exact slide. It has all the stuff on the slides in notes, and then the stuff that it maybe typed in the notes bar.
well, it has a little slide, and below it are notes for the speaker. Okay, when you do the slide, you'll notice in the bottom pane, when you're in Design View, there's a place for notes. Those are actually for your speaker notes, and you can print these out so you can have them in front of you. It says, oh, for this slide, I want to say this, this, and this. Pretty handy stuff.
They've actually somewhat hidden it now on 13. You actually have to click to pull it.
Okay. Okay. Well, remind me to do that in a
It's
second.
there.
Yeah. And you can see the 9 and so on. But just be aware, if you're going to hand out paper, make sure you're going to use it. A lot of times, I've been to most presentations, they hand out the notes. I never even referenced them. Kind of like the idea of handing out the outline, because now I can see something, and if I want to make a scribble, but maybe not even that. So just, be aware of printing. A lot of times, it's just make your PowerPoints available. That's really the best thing to do. Now, if you can have them posted someplace, you could even email them out as an attachment. If you can't do that, you could create a Google Docs and just have it in that file and share it. So, a lot of things you can do there. Okay? The orientations, of course, we know about that, and the colors. Now, the colors on the printing, color is what you think, it's full color. Grayscale will print the graphics that you have in grayscale. Pure black and white won't print backgrounds, it won't print anything like that. It is just text. Okay, so if you really want to save ink, do pure black and white. Share, here's different ways. Invite people to your document if you're saving to the cloud. Now we say, have you created your Microsoft account yet? There are instructions on the D2L site. You might want to go ahead and create a Microsoft account. All that is, your cloud, your iCloud, that's just free space somebody's giving you on a server. That is, you can log into anywhere in the world. Okay? So you can create a Microsoft folder that you can log into any place. And you can share that with people. Email, of course, you can see all the different emails there. The PDF, of course, allows people to see it that do not have PowerPoint. And there's a little compression there. It'll be a little smaller. Present online, kind of a neat thing. Creates a link, puts it online, creates a link. We'll do this if we have time. We'll throw a PowerPoint up, and you guys can log into it. You can actually email the link out, and then people can log in to see it. And then publish slides. If you're working on them, you can have the 3 of us could work on it and track the changes and so on. Okay. Export. Now, I want you to do this with your final presentation, just to kind of play around with it. You'll see where it talks about creating a video. Basically, what happens there is it's going to take every slide and save it as a JPEG. And you can do that. You can finish your PowerPoint, and you can go in and hit Save As JPEG. And you can turn each PowerPoint slide into an image. And then it would just be like you taking those images and dropping into your video line in Vegas or Movie Maker or something. That's all it is taking those slides, putting them in the movie track, and saying, make movie. So instead of clicking through it, you just... Now the disadvantage of that is if you have animated bullets that come up, you're not going to see that. It's going to take the first of each slide. So, excuse me, you have to be aware of that. Change file type. remember, you can always go back. If you have 2013 like we're using, you can save it as a 97 version. But a lot of the bells and whistles in 2013 weren't thought of in 97. So they're not going to work. But it's going to scale it down and you can use it. Of course, you can't go up. Okay? Now notice on the fourth one down on this, it's a template. Okay? If you've ever seen one of the college PowerPoints that the dean does or some that I've done out in different, they've got the stream scene and they've got college public health on one side and so on. Well, we have 4 of those, I think, that we created PowerPoint templates. And we just save those, and whenever we do a community something, we try to use those because it's branding the college. You need to do the same thing. Create your own. I mean, you can create your own now and use it for the rest of your time here. Have your own unique stuff, so anytime you turn something in, present something, it's got your own signature on it. And you save that. When you go to save as, you can save it as a template. And then when you go to pull it up, you can pull it up and start with that. Now at work, this saves you from having to go in and constantly recreate stuff. PowerPoint show, you don't have to have PowerPoint to view it. Okay. Same thing here, presentation is a picture. Down at the bottom, file types. Print quality PNG, the portable network graphic, is almost compressionless, doesn't compress. So it almost saves entire quality, but the file's big, not an email attachment. JPEG is not as big. Okay, other file types save as. So you can do a lot with this, a lot more than you could before. Count, see just who we are and so on. Options. This is preferences. Okay, now let's go through options a little bit. Again, once you have your machine, you set this stuff up for you. Office background, you can change whatever you want. Proofing. Flag repeated words, I think it underlines them. Ignore words that contain numbers. Ignore words in the case, all those things. Okay. Save. Save file automatically in PowerPoint presentation. Auto recovery every 10 minutes. You can have that less time. The auto recovery takes more memory. It uses more computer resources. It shows where to put them. The default location. If you have all my presentations, I want them to be put into documents, presentations, such and such. You just put that right here. Language, as you would think, language. Custom ribbons, what we talked about before. We did that before from the ribbons. Quick access toolbars. Again, if you want to have a toolbar that shows up, you can do it there. And the add-ins, there's different add-ins. Like here's the Smart Ink. That's a one for the smart board. Different things you can add to it. Trust Center. This is things that the security Microsoft has in. You open up the site, you go to something, and it's going to say, oh, this is a trustworthy document. Anything from this site, we accept. We know it's not full of malware. Okay? Now, that's to go to home. Pretty much, you're looking at a publisher ribbon, right? I don't think there's anything different. That's the publisher ribbon. Okay? Insert, sort of the same thing. Okay? What's a screenshot?
Takes a picture of the screen.
Okay, how do we get it?
I just usually click print screen.
Okay, or what I just highlighted, I have a little more control.
Is that new?
Yes.
Okay.
So you just click
Okay.
that you wanna use that, and then,
Well, let me do it again.
sorry, just blew my mind a little bit.
I got lost. Where were we?
Insert.
Thank you, I was at home. Screen clipping, because see now, it's all black, it's all faded, so it's only going to, whatever turns color. Okay.
Awesome.
Now the other way is to hit print screen.
Yeah.
If you hit print screen, it copies the whole thing, and then if you paste that, it pastes the whole thing. Got it? If you use multiple monitors, it's the active. If you hit print screen with 2 monitors, it takes the record. It takes a picture of both monitors. If you hold Alt and hit print screen, it takes the picture of the one monitor. But the screen clipping, almost every time I've ever done this, the next thing I have to do is go in and crop this. So the fact that you can do the screen, the clipping is why. So insert, photo album, new photo album. If you want to have a photo album for Valley Brook, a photo album for PHSA, a photo album for this, it's way to categorize that stuff. Okay? Pictures, of course, is what you would see. Shapes we've done. Smart art. Now this is in your PowerPoint challenge, which we get to. But this is some pretty good stuff. Look at the relationship. And click on the funnel one. I think that's the one we use. See what it's trying to represent? Let me get a new page. So you see, you can see we're going to mix things together. It's going to come out. So it's pretty simple to use, and it's a nice little graphic. There's tons of those. What you need to do is sort of play with them, and then you're like, oh, I know how to show that. That's the key to this stuff. It's like, oh, that's how you show it. Okay, an inversion, a version of power, or this one I've used this for lots of stuff. And people always like, ooh, that's a great graphic you made. And I go, yeah, I didn't make anything. I typed in a few words. And then what you do is of course, you go in and you format object and you change all the colors on it. Okay? And you can, So it doesn't take long and you've got a really nice piece. So that's on the insert smart art charts. We know apps for Office. Come back to that. Hyperlinks, really easy, right? If I want to hyperlink something, right? I just highlight it. And I can highlight it, put in a hyperlink, or go up to insert hyperlink, and it's going to ask where you want to go. Okay, so you type in the address, .com, whatever, and now you've created a hyperlink. Now another little nice option is to create something. Stop it. Top it to. Now I do this and I do a hyperlink. Place in this document. Now I can hyperlink to a given slide. So now I could even do a table of contents. Instead of going through slide by slide, I could have here are the 8 topics we're going to talk about. I can click on topic 2, and it takes me to that slide. And then at the bottom, I could just have a back arrow and hyperlink back to the table of contents. So I can hop around PowerPoint that way. Another thing we've done with that is if you have a topic and you're presenting, and then someone has a question about something, which you think they probably will, maybe it's an employment policy or something, you could have that down below, and you could hyperlink to that slide, which is at the end of the presentation. If no one asks about it, you may not want to go to it. So you can hyperlink back and forth with that. You can also do this in Word. And most people don't do that, but if you have a Word document and you have a table of contents up front, you can hyperlink to that stuff. You can hyperlink to appendices and so on, which makes for a nice little electronic book. So remember that. See places on this. Now, you really can't get down to section. You really usually just go to slide or pages. It'd be nice if you could get down to the section, but that's a little tough. Let's see. Action. Mouse over. We'll do this when we do our web stuff. If you want to have a, let me do one of these. No, that wasn't that hard. Really, you froze. We didn't even try to do it yet.
At least your recording's still working.
Yeah, my recording's still working of the blunder. Can I use this? What my little girl does? She starts doing this. It's not a touch screen. Oh, really? Technology's great right up till it stops working.
All my questions were
Okay. Okay, so let's just do one of these. Let's insert a shape. Okay. In whatever that may be. And then the action is on mouse over, you could link to, let's play a sound, which we don't ever do this, but. I have no idea what the application for that is. Taylor Rose would love that. That would be 30 minutes of fun right there. Now, if the sound was a description of that item, now that would be, especially if you had.
Mine doesn't work.
Speakers on?
Yeah.
Make sure it was on either on mouse click or mouse over. There's 2 different options.
Yeah.
It's on mouse over.
Don't know. We have to play with it. All right, we can play with that
Did I
forever.
do that wrong?
There's no button
Now, the headers and footers are what you would expect: time, date, slide number, and so on. Slide number is probably something, and I forget all the time, you should always have it when you're giving presentations and so on, because someone at the end of it, I'll have a question about the slide with the star on it that made the annoying noise. Go back to that slide, but turn the speakers off first. You know. But if you have a number on it, it's a good thing.
Right.
So turn that on. And there's the, let's see, equations, what you would expect. Now, here's the biggie. Video. Everyone pull down video. They've done a pretty good job in this new version explaining this. Okay? There are two ways of going about embedding a video. Now, first of all, let's define embedding. My little girl asked what sharing meant the other day. We have guests coming this weekend with 3 kids, and we've been talking about sharing, and she's been, okay, and then finally it was like, sometimes you share your food, and gave an example, and she said, what does sharing mean? And she was like, if you share food, you don't get it back. If I'm going to share my toys, what does share mean? She was, I thought, that's a pretty good question. Because she was like, we're going to share your toys. And then she went, are they going to bring their own toothbrush? Good question. So, let's define embed. There's two. If we embed a video, what does that mean? The video will play
On the slide.
on the slide, within the slide. It does not link to a player. We prefer that it plays in the slide, on the slide. So we're not hopping programs around. Sometimes that happens, it's not a big deal. There's 2 videos. There are videos that are online, it's all good, and there are videos that are on my PC. That was a real good way to put that. If it's on my PC, I have the what? I have the file. If it's online, I have to go get it. 9 times out of 10, if you're watching it online, it's what? It's the S word. Have we covered this yet?
If it's online, it's what?
Streaming. What does streaming mean?
Anybody can watch it at any time.
It means you better have internet, right?
You got to have internet, yes. But if it's streaming, it's not doing what?
You don't download it?
You don't download it. You don't sit and wait for the file to go to your computer and play it. Streaming means that you open up the player, okay, and then it starts to play, right? So it's sending so much video to the player. Once it gets so much, which is called what? Buffering. It's creating a buffer. It's sending 15 seconds. It's not going to start until it has 15 seconds of video. Because then, while you're watching that 15 seconds, it's doing what?
Getting the next video.
Getting the next and the next and the next. If your connection is too slow, you'll get to the end of your 15 seconds before you have the next and it stops. That's the rub, right? So I'm going to go video online. Okay? Well, I'm not going to log into this. Okay, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that either. This is a bit of a pain. I want to do one from other sites. I don't want to log in. Let me see if we can come up with a way of doing that without it. Let me show you the other way. I'm going to go to Chrome and go to TED.
Oh, forget talk to me.
Do what?
One of the titles.
I haven't listened.
every day to children the way we teach them mathematics. Why? Why not? I think this is rather important. I think maths is very important, but so is dance. Children dance all the time, if they like to, will do.
Because TED, had to wait the microphone up. Because TED's open source, I don't know if it's a TED talk. Let's go back to the edge. Download. Now, this is all about file size, right? The longer, bigger this is, the bigger the file. So let's keep it here. Subtitles, none. Download. Download. Hello? Okay, there we go. You can download these and have it on your machine. Once it downloads, you can take it into Movie Maker.
I was here 4 years ago, and I remember at the time.
If you find the 90 seconds that you want for your presentation, it's in the middle. Download it, drop it into Movie Maker, Sony Vegas, and cut the beginning and the end off. Stick a title on it, and you can use it for your presentation. Okay. So that was from your PC. The other way in PowerPoint, which it's downloading it. It downloads as it shows it. It's in real time. So it takes a few minutes. The other one, I'll have to play with how you can do this without logging into this one. We want to be able to go in there and put a link, like a YouTube link. Okay, that's all we want to do, but I'll figure out why we have to do this. But go ahead and create a Microsoft account. You have one already? If you don't, they're free, and the instructions are on the top of the D2L site under Content. Okay, now you should have a Google account, a Microsoft account. Okay, but on your PowerPoint on your challenge, take-home challenge, it's a video from file and it's a video from your PC. Download one from TED and you can have it for your project. Audio is pretty much the same way. Okay? Online, my PC, and then there's an option here of record an audio. Okay? So that's insert. Design, we don't do a lot because the design is all templates. Okay? Now you can see, and there's so many of these that you can download for free. Okay? Transitions. Now a lot of this. Let me insert a text box. And then let's put a couple of bullets here. Okay. Now, if I go back to transitions, if I do a fade, these are slide to slide. I would strongly recommend that you do one for your whole show. Unless it's just kind of funsing something, you can have them all, but really one's enough. Okay, so each slide comes in differently. Okay, effects, options, you can see, you can do different things. Now, animation. This is a little different. This is how the slides are going to appear. Okay? Now, if I had the animation pane open, now I can actually come in and decide how I want these things to show up. I want them to fly in. And you notice here, all these come in at one time. I can change that numbering so that they come in on click. Now that I've got all my twos, I can go to each one and have them come in with the previous, after the previous, on a click, and I'll just end up changing each one to come in as I talk about it. So if I go to show now, talk about this one, and we'll talk about that one, then we'll talk about that one, and that one. That's really what you want, okay? You don't want the whole slide up there and you're talking about it, because people are going to go, they'll be reading while you're talking. Now something else we'll ask you to do is on these, after you're finished with it, it fades out, or you make it gray shadow or something. So you'll show, we've talked about the first one, now we're on the second one. Now the first two are grayed out, and we're on the third one. So you really showcase the one that you're on, okay? So play around with the animation. You can do all the different things with it. But the animation pane is something you may not turn on. Turn this on, and it gives you full control, okay? That's the whole key, is having that over here on the side. Slideshow, kind of what you would think. You can do timings and so on. I really don't recommend it ever doing that automatic advance and so on. It's too hard, and it's not that inconvenient to click. You can do that if you're doing something for people to watch on their own, but then again, people lack control. Okay. Now the monitor, you can, if you have multiple monitors, and you can do this, and you can have PowerPoint running on this, just like in front of you. And you can have the show go to a projector, which is somewhat good and bad. I used to do a thing where they would want to make edits during the presentation, which is like, go to slide 5 and change this before we get there. No, yeah, we got to get it. So, but you can have different monitors. That's what that's all about. Let's see. I don't think there's anything there. Review is what you would think it would be. View all the different options that you can view. The developer add-ins, don't worry too much about it. Acrobats, the Adobe stuff, the PDFs. Storyboarding allows you to lay it out a little bit more. You can add things. We'll try to work with this if we have time, which I doubt. The only thing we didn't show is the narration. Where's narration in 13?
Insert. Right, well, no.
No.
I mean, you can do audio. Slideshow.
Play narration.
Let's play. Where do we record? I didn't think it was on the audio, but it might be record audio.
Yeah.
That's just the sound recorder. There's a narrate, but I don't know where it is in the new one. Let's find it. Where's the narrate slides? You would think in the like record, it would have record audio, or I guess recording is audio enough, but so you record here, you start recording, and it's recording whatever you want to put down. blah, 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 blah. Now let's see if we have anything that. See, you put whatever you want to put down. Hard enough. Blah 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 blah. So
You got the important stuff.
yeah. Yada yada yada.
Can you save that recording, please?
So slideshow. Questions about this? We covered 1% of it.
Cool.
Maybe.
1%.
And yes, it locks this machine.
I think it's telling us to be done for the day. It doesn't want to work.
No, we're gonna watch this thing now.
Okay.
I think basically you just have to go to like home.
Um,
Go to design. And then on far right you do format
oh,
background.
we can watch this video.
You can like change it to the colors, or you can make it transparent, or you can add like the gradient.
So the do's and don'ts of PowerPoint. We'll watch this.
What I tell people all the time, this is how we
haven't
communicate
watched
in today's world. Okay? This is what we don't want. This is typically called life or death by PowerPoint, right? We think in
Can you hear
PowerPoint.
that
I was
okay?
actually, this is a true story. I was driving through Colorado a couple years ago. I hit a patch of ice on I-70 coming out of the Eisenhower Tunnel, going like 65, 70, maybe 90 miles an hour. And I started spinning at top speed, and my life flashed before my eyes, and I swear to you, it was in PowerPoint. And how fast PowerPoint got, this is actually the number of PowerPoint presentations per day. Look at that, it's 43 million per day in 2007, 54 million 2008, 69 million this year, 88 million per day next year. Now I looked at this chart, look, that is growing exponentially. I looked at this chart, here's home foreclosures for a year. You see that's going about the same way. I realized that PowerPoint actually caused the mortgage meltdown. So this is a thing I do called Life After Death by PowerPoint. Basically, don't do these things with PowerPoint. These are the things that people do that drive me nuts. And the only way to show them not to do this is to show them what not to do. So the biggest one I see, the most common PowerPoint thing, number one, people tend to put every word they're going to say on their PowerPoint slide. Although this eliminates the need to memorize your code, ultimately makes your slides crowded, wordy, and boring. You lose your audience attention before you even reach the bottom of your first slide. Second most common, font size is important. Size matters. Too small, and that's not good for anybody. On the other hand, too big, and you're looking more. You just look like an idiot. Don't have your fonts moving. Keep your text stationary. There's nothing more annoying than text blinking. Don't have it blinking. Don't have it spinning. Don't have stuff flying around the screen. You drive people with ADD crazy. You're just like, oh, what's happening? Oh. Now, since I'm talking about fonts, people are really into fonts. I've noticed this. By the way, this is one of the best jokes that I know. Comic Sans and Helvetica walk into a bar. And ask the bartender for a drink, and the bartender says, sorry, we don't serve your type here.
That's really funny.
That kills at a font convention. Okay? Oh, that's a good one. It's a tie if I get it. The font you choose, be very careful. Everybody has their favorite font. The font you choose sends a message about who you are as a person. There's a long list of fonts. We pick one. That reflects our personality. We're sending an unspoken message. So, for example, if you choose Carrier New, it means you're organized and structured. And like to pretend you're still using a typewriter. If you choose Comic Sans, it means you think you're funny. And if you choose Times New Roman, it means you're lazy, apathetic, and unimaginative, and you always use the default.
That is no longer the default.
Yeah, seriously.
If you choose Georgia, it means you speak with a southern accent.
It's like my
If you choose Ariel, it means you like the Little Mermaid. Oh, a lot of Ariel people. If you choose Old English, it means you enjoy malt liquor. We got a few more. Helvetica, that means you're a mayonnaise lover. That's a stretch. Oh, that is a stretch. Blackadder, that means you're an African American accountant. That one requires some thought. Sorry. And if you like wingdings, it means you're a nerd and you have no life. Now, if you type in all small letters, some people do that, all small letters, that means you're quiet, shy, and unassertive. If you type in all capital letters, that means you yell a lot. There's somebody over there. If you type small letters followed by capital letters, it means your cap lock is stopped on. Don't you hate when that happens? You're usually going along for a while, you look up, oh darn! And then finally got a mix of capital letters and small letters, that means this is a ransom note and you are a kidnapper. Very hard to do that. Fourth most common power mistake, avoid excessive bullet pointing, only bullet key points. Too many bullet points, and your key messages will not stand out. In fact, the term bullet point comes from people firing guns at annoying presenters. This slide, by the way, has crashed PowerPoint. Apparently, there's a max about how many bullet points you can have, and I said I pressed it. The other thing you do is have animations. People love animations. They have stuff go zooming in and out and left and right. You get seasick watching some of these. And it turns out if you're a visual learner, your effectiveness as a speaker will go up with the more animations. But if they're easily distracted, they are not even paying attention to what you're saying. They're just watching the cool stuff. And there's regions to this graph. There's the simple but effective region, the active but confusing, the effective but boring, the active but ineffective, the dull but static region, the busy but useless region over there, the ADD only region there up in the corner, the useful musing, the stupid confusing, the double triangle, the hyper triangle, the sleepy square, the dizzing pentagon, and then everything else is just grouped into what's called pointless motion. This one slide, by the way, took me 3.5 weeks to make. Sure, it's how PowerPoint gets sucked away. Now, one of the biggest dangers today, and I'm telling you, I hear it more and more every time I hear a conversation, is what I call SAOD, or Severe Acronym Overload Disorder. Have you heard people talk recently? There are no words going between, yeah, I am my CFO about our ROI and our CRM and our RFP, and it turns out our EPS is really SOL, so we better do something ASAP. Like, can I buy a vowel? I can't solve the conversation. And I made up this resume, but this could be a real resume in today's world. Look, I got an MBA from USC, an MSEE from MIT, a BSEE from DU. I worked at IBM, HP, VLS. I remember IEEE, EIT, NCAA, NAACP, RPA, AAA. I want a position of CEO, COO, CFO, CIO, CTO, CMO, CSO, CPO, CYO, VP, EVP, or EIEIO. I want to be the EIEIO of a company someday. It's actually my dream. Hi, I'm the EIEIO. Nice to meet you. Call me on McDonald, that's all right. Now comes my final point, and this people do all the time. They'll just have graph after graph just to impress you with their graph prowess. And I chose acronym usage. It's in my real-time acronym usage. It pretty much goes up and down. I don't know why you need the graph, but you can see pretty much peak there. I'll use some more acronyms later. And there's just a chart that doesn't make any sense to you, but I just want to impress you. Here's an acronym letter distribution. C's, I's, E's, N's, and S's are the most common letters that I use in my acronyms. Here's a pie chart letter distribution. I have no idea what you use that for. You can generate that automatically in PowerPoint. So figure what the heck I did. Here's a line graph, the number of line graphs throughout my show. Here's a bar chart, number of bar charts, pretty much goes up and down. Here's a real bar chart. There's beer lines. Kind of bar chart I'm into. Here's a candy bar chart. Here's a salad bar chart, tomatoes, sprouts, spinach, and the different calories of each. Here's a sushi bar chart. This is a probability of illness, depending on the... There's a lot of detail in my act. Please pay close attention. Here's a bar chart of the number of bars, business versus age throughout my life. Most people don't take the time to do this, but you can see when I was 17, I had the fake ID, so it was confiscated when I was 19, and my bar usage dropped dramatically. I spent way too long making these charts. When I was 21, I went nearly every day of the year. You can see it was about 342. It's kind of gone down through the years. I plan to drink a lot when I'm 40, a lot when I'm 50, and then retire and drink constantly. That's my plan. Here's a spreadsheet of spreadsheets. Get back to the charts. Here's a spreadsheet of spreads. Butter, margarine, I can't believe it's not butter. Mayonnaise, French onion, cheese whiz, and Patriots +5 over Colts. Every possible spread you can imagine. Here's an org chart of org charts. There's my main org chart, my sales, marketing, engineering org chart. Here's your reorg chart. Every company should have those. And then this is interesting. This is my actual family org chart. Make one of these. It's important. Steve, our cat, runs our family. If you have a cat, you know that is true. Any animal that goes, hey, I just pooped in there, somebody clean that up. Clearly head of the family. My wife Laura reports to Steve, I report to my wife, and the remote control reports to me. That's my entire region of domain right there. Back to the charts again. Here's a pie chart of chart types, 3D charts, bar charts, pie charts. Here's a pie chart of pies for dessert, lemon, pumpkin, cherry, pecan, apple. Here's a pizza pie chart. Here's your pot pie chart. There's a better pot pie chart. Here's a pie chart with values of pi for the nerds out there. You have 3.14159, 22.7, 3.14, and pi itself. We have a pie chart. I was thinking, why don't we have a cake chart? So there's a cake chart. Why don't we leave the cake out? There's a birthday cake chart. There's a wedding cake chart. There's a bundt cake chart. An upside down cake chart. And then really that's an upside down cake chart. And, all right, I think I've covered all the charts. Any questions at this point?
So he really does go over most of the major points of PowerPoint. Okay. So
Can you really make like food charts? How do you do that?
put graphics in. Oh yeah.
I do not have that.
That's cool. I'm gonna go make a cake chart now.
I'm gonna bar chart.
So there's the do's and don'ts. Text, keep slides concise, usually 5 to 7 lines. 5 to 7 lines, 7 words, that's a lot. And this is all on D2L. Depending on the size of the room, 48 to 24. And you notice on the presentation thing, there's a big, big deduction if we can't read your font. And the main thing you're doing is to present information. And what does that tell us if you present in here and we can't read the font?
You didn't practice.
That you didn't practice. Okay? Sans serif fonts are fonts without what?
Curly nonsense.
Decoration. Yeah. So if you use some odd font and you go to Mountain States, it may not work.
Do you have a picture or slide of that chalkboard that you guys like came up with and you like now, but we don't have it? Like, what does that look like?
Sorry, I had to catch up with. We've asked OIT has fixed that twice. Why it does
That should tell you something about OIT.
It looks like that.
Oh, okay, cool.
Okay. Now, if I go to Control Panel and I go to
Is it fonts over there on the left in the first one?
the fonts, yeah, I'm not sure why it's not showing. Oh, there we go. There's the fonts on this machine. Okay. Used to be a pretty small number of fonts on each machine, but there's a little bit better. A little more. But you see it has to be a bold, regular, italicized. I mean, the machine actually has to have what a brush script MT italic I looks like. It has to have what a regular I looks like. You know, it says, what is that font? Is it italics or not? He goes and gets it, puts it there. So chalkboard isn't on here. Let's see if my login will let me go get it.
Just open.
Yeah, let's see if it will let me. Okay. Now I should be able to.
Sometimes you can go.
Yeah.
So you have to double click it and install.
If I can go, did I close the control room? No. So, just going to drag it over there. And let's see if it added it. I don't see it. Install. Be a valid font. It's probably an OIT issue. But that's all you do, is you add the font. You can add that font to your
Oh.
machine. But like I couldn't add it to this machine because of the administration of the OIT. If you're about
They're only
states,
allowed to do it.
you wouldn't be able to do it. So it's not something you can carry in your PowerPoint to do. So be aware of that. Okay. Space is the best friend you can have on any of these. Statements, lists. You'll see on the PowerPoint assignment where you bold keywords. You know, if you're doing a presentation a lot, like the one you're going to do in here, and you're going to practice, you should end up having trigger words. You should be able to look at one word in a bullet and go, oh, I need to talk about this now. I need to talk about that. You shouldn't have to never read, of course. Okay? Blah, blah, blah. You can read that when you do this. 2 to 3 colors, shades per slide's plenty unless it's needed. Create your own PowerPoint templates. Make sure you have good contrast, either dark backgrounds, light colors, black on white, white on black. Just monitor your contrast. Nothing there we haven't looked for. Projectors. These projectors are okay at best. We'll try to replace that when it's not very good. If your presentation depends on color, if you're doing something that color is really important, your projector will not have the same color. Okay? I mean, it just monitor to monitor won't. That's a $1,200, $1,400 one. I've got a $6,000 projector in the office, and it does pretty good. It's a movie projector, but still, even that, if you're trying to have a chart, it's really important that the different colors are seen. You may not see it. Okay. There's 2 types of images. There's an image that is an aesthetic image that's just adding to it. It's a nice background picture or an addition. Or there's a content image that is a picture of a ventilator or a heart or your new medical 3D printer or something. So you can have printers, you can have images that add a little to it, or you can have an image that you have to have. If it's not an image that you have to have, it shouldn't take up the whole screen. That's true in the publisher thing for your presentation. There's no reason to have a picture that's half of a page unless it's something you're going to talk about. Okay? Not too many graphics. Don't use low quality image. Anything that pixelates, throw it away. If it's not super clear, don't use it, either in print or on the computer. Okay? What we just covered. If you can't read it, don't put it on there. That's true of anything. Print, video, anything. If you can't read it, don't put it on there. Unless it's something that you're showing an image and it has text on it that we don't need to be able to read. If that's the case, try to crop it out. Okay? Don't use sound. Don't have music playing in the background. Unless it's you need to hear what the emergency alarm sounds like. Play it, but beyond that unless it's narration. Again, what he said about the twirling words and so on. Don't get people caught up in the stagecraft, not your presentation. It's good to have good stagecraft. It's good to use the room. It's good to be a good presenter, but the main point is the information. Okay? Questions about that? Hey, we're just cruising along today, getting all kinds of stuff done. Getting kind of boring though, I can tell.
I think it's just because it's close to spring break. Everybody's just kind of.
Me too. But let's do one more thing so we can catch up. Let's take. That's going to end our PowerPoint session, so we'll stop.